I am not forecasting the end of the world or doom and gloom, but what I am saying, Leslie, is you know what? It's not like, hey, I want you to own your garage and check and make sure if you live in Southern California that your earthquake kit is up to date and the water is fresh and the food has not been contaminated. I'm not saying that. I'm saying for local business owners, the landscape is changing. And I can't wait to hear your piece on this because you look at it, I don't want to say differently, but you see it from a little different viewpoint, a different ridge, if you will. And it's going to be interesting to say this. So, hey, I want to welcome you to a very special live. This is the Twisted, Bent, and Exhausted Entrepreneur podcast. It only comes out every Thursday, and it's recorded. But today, because again, things are changing so fast, Lizzie, you thought, hey, get in here and talk about this. So welcome. My name is Jeff Harrison, along with my wonderful co-host,
Leslie Spohr with Executive Errands. Oops, no, Concierge Business Solutions on this podcast. I can't get anything right today. I swear to God, I have tried so hard. And I have called, I spoke this morning at a group and called them by the wrong group's name.
Whoops.
Oops.
You know,
they told me to leave, actually. No.
The one thing you don't want to do is wake up and your spouse is looking at you, you said, who's John? Or who's Bonnie? And like, you're in trouble. So
yeah, I was in trouble. But I covered it up really quickly and said, now you're awake. I know where I'm at.
That's it. Well, I want to talk about this whole thing about warning local businesses about things that are changing. And I want to preface it by listening to a podcast that I've been listening to for now almost their inception, called Moonshots. And they're talking about things called benchmarks and how things are changing so quickly. And here's an example. And then it's kind of set the precedence is, we think about this AI. It came out 3 years ago. ChatGPT came out a little over 3 years ago.
Was it 3 years already?
Yeah. And it didn't have any new update for months. And now it's on a pace of having a new, like, bigger and better version, if you will, every 29 days.
Oh my gosh.
And so what does that mean? Well, it means what we do as business owners, because I'm a local business owner, you're a local business owner, is we can't be caught on our heels because, if you're off balance on your heels, what happens? It doesn't take much to flip you over. Well, we are at that inflection point. We have to say, I need to make sure I'm on my toes. I need to be like Wayne Gretzky and say, if you're not sure who that is, look it up if it's out of your age group. But he was a famous hockey player, and he said, hey, what made him so good is he skated to where the puck was going, not where it is. And I think as business owners, sometimes we deal with where we are instead of where we want to be.
Exactly.
So anyway, with that, I've already bloviated quite a bit. Let me turn it over to you. What do you think about that?
Well, I still don't know what context we're talking in, but as far as things changing really quickly, they absolutely are. It's hard to keep up. Yesterday, it was yesterday, I heard somebody make a pitch for an outdated social media promotional process. I'll put it that way. Okay. That I know is not only, it's still probably effective right now, but it's on its way out. And those of us who have embraced AI in all of its wicked forms understand that we have to change with this new technology. And, I know it's scary for a lot of people. They don't understand it yet. They think of it as a robot or something, but our businesses have to evolve or we die. I've been in business for 20 years and I've been working for 50, but I've been in business for myself for 20 years. And I have the two companies that I manage, and I've had to evolve with both of those. You've seen me do it because we've known each other forever. So in the Executive Errands case, I let the clients dictate kind of how the business grew because they would ask for different services. In the concierge business solutions realm, I've been evolving it to adapt to where my clients want to take their business, right? So it's funny because when I first created that and I called it Concierge Business Solutions, I had no idea at the time that I would create so many different solutions to so many different problems in the lifestyle management industry.
Yeah.
I didn't set out to do that, but it turned out that I've got, half a dozen or a dozen different things that people can use to make their businesses better. And this podcast that we do together is one of those. If you recall, it was an eye opener to me when I started doing the 5-day challenges that not everybody grows at the pace that we did.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I'm meeting companies that have been in business for 10 years that have maybe a dozen clients. And they're doing good and they're making money, but I would have at 10 years, I had, 75 clients or something like that. I mean, it never occurred to me that people build slower. I assumed everybody was doing what I was doing. So because that realization, I modified the way my software is the solution for people on my software to meet them at the point they are in their business today and where they want to take it. Right. So I 100% agree with you that technology, especially, is moving so fast. I tell this story a lot. I don't think I've told it on the podcast, though. Did you know it took 38 years from proof of concept on a television to commercial distribution of a TV?
It's amazing. Amazing.
38 years.
Mm.
I mean, we're lucky if we get 38 seconds today before we get a new update or a new change or something comes out that's just better and amazing. I don't know.
Well,
I'm sure you see it a lot too.
Well, there's a conversation. If you said this before, and like when you said you were in consulting and you walk into a business and said, oh, well, you don't understand it. That doesn't work in my business. And that's
Right.
when I think it drove you to say, wait a second, there are standards for business. No matter what you do, these are the things, if you do these things, you will experience success. If you
Right.
don't do it, it's like having a bucket with water in it. There are some holes in your bucket and it's not as efficient as good. It's not saying you're going to fail. It's just saying you're not as efficient as possible. And that's what you shine at, of saying, hey, I identify the holes. This is how we fix it, and move on and make that, like the 10 person, to make it to 20. That's
Right.
double in their business. That's huge.
Right.
One of the things I noticed, and I want to share something with you because I hear this all the time, more regularly. And it's amazing how many times I hear it, like on a national news program, of how AI is not giving the people the responses that they're expecting. They're expecting to be like a genie in a bottle, like rub it and it'll come out, it's magic.
Yeah. No kidding.
And I want to liken this to a situation where it says, if you went to a foreign country and they did not speak English and you tried to communicate with them and you knew just a little bit of the language and you thought you asked them for a napkin and instead you insulted their wife, what would happen? The reaction would be different, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I think there's a language that we have to start using. And I'm not going to get too technical, but I want to share a screen with you just real quick on something I'm working on. We've all heard of these things called prompts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a prompt is, it's like if you were a parent or you're an employer and you're saying, John, go to the back room and get 3 more of these and stock it up front. Like, I've given him explicit direction. He knows where the stock room is. He knows what I'm talking about. And he knows where up front is. But unfortunately, when we go to using prompts, we're using that, I think this is what I want. And so the AI, which is far smarter than we are, it's the smartest element in the box, that it gives us an answer that's so vague we think, oh, it doesn't work for us. So I want you to look in this little box right here. This is a prompt.
How can I see that? I can see it. Go ahead.
Yeah. This is a prompt that I built for this. Now, this is only part of what I do. I'm building some things in the back end. This is what we use. But I want you to look at the length of this prompt.
Wow, that's too long.
It's not too long. It tells it exactly what to do, what the constraints are, what the expectations are, how often, even down to the part like, what to expect, image sizes, all these kind of things. My point being is this is called, and it takes a lot to get to this point. This is called a one-shot prompt. And what that means is, in your world, when you were doing things, it said, hey, if you do this, this is the outcome. You see it all the time. Well, right. If I use this prompt, I don't want it to be broken every time. I want it to produce a consistent outcome. So I create one-shot prompts. As an example, let's say this is for a blog we want to write. Well, somebody says, I want to write a blog for my local HVAC company, and I'm in Palm Desert, Arizona, or Palm Desert, California. And that's all I give it. I got to be honest with you, it's going to be crappy. And you're going to blame the machine when it's not. It's the prompt, as you see here. This is extremely explicit. So my point is we have to, and this is why I have this headline of warning local businesses, there's a storm brewing. Are you prepared? It's a world we're moving into, Leslie, and you know this, that the language is different and it's moving at such a rapid pace that we as business owners really can't say, I'm just going to step on the sideline and wait till this storm passes.
It's not going to happen.
It isn't going to happen.
Yeah. I remember that. I can equate that to the 80s when we wanted when Pong first came out, the video game Pong. We really thought that was cool. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then Nintendo came out, and we thought, well, I'm going to wait a little bit longer for the technology, and then Super NES came out, and then all of a sudden it was like so fast, everything was coming out, more games and all this stuff. So yeah, I can kind of relate to that as far as the speed, the speed with which things are coming out and happening. Now, I personally think that prompt that you just showed might be intimidating to most people, because I looked at some of that, and a lot of that includes like programming and things like that. It's a very sophisticated, high level prompt. So for those of you who are watching this, the general business owner who are not a brainiac like Jeff, hire Jeff to do that kind of stuff. But you can do that with a lot easier types of prompts, especially when you're first learning how to use artificial intelligence. And particularly, I think the key is teaching it your business, which means uploading content you already have, social media content, your website, anything you've written or published, all of that stuff needs to be fed into it so it can learn you, because, and it needs to learn your voice. We all have a voice in business, right? I know business owners who swear on camera in their social media, and I think that that's wrong. Now, in aerospace, I swore like, a longshoreman, but in the business I'm in today, I don't hardly, because occasionally, but not comparatively speaking, because this industry, I don't think that it's respectful for the lifestyle management industry personally, or as a consultant either. I know there's some that do. Everybody has their own style and their own way of speaking and their own syntax and how they come across. And so the AI needs to learn that so that it can offer you solutions and suggestions that work with your personality and sound like you. I think it's really key that it needs to sound like you. I went through a period of time personally where I was using it to write newsletters, and they were great newsletters, but to me, they didn't sound like me as much. Wow. So, I mean, other people say, yeah, they do, but to me personally, they didn't seem like it. And so I've started to say, I want this to be more conversational, more first person, so that, and I usually load a story in there too as part of my prompt, and then let it go and see what it comes back with. And I like those better for me. But you're right. Writing a prompt is key. There's some that you write, Jeff, that are like, you're the smartest AI on the planet in this thing, right?
Right.
For marketing of this kind of business, or you've been a book editor forever, and you option only bestsellers. And if I'm going to write this, how should it read? Oh, you got it right there.
Like there's an example here.
Yeah. I'm a world-class business coach. Are you talking to me?
Yeah. So basically, yes. and again, this is not a class on this. This is saying, hey, if you want to make sure when you go in a restaurant that you have to go to the bathroom, that you use the right phrase. Well, prompting has a structure. And the first one is role. Who do you want it to be? Because imagine you have just opened up. Remember those? I think it's called Play-Doh.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Play-Doh. It was
smells
putty,
so
right?
good. It smells good.
Oh gosh, I just had that smell coming. Oh, that's cool how senses remember that. And it's been many, many years. But that is something that says, hey, it has no shape. So you have to tell it what it's to be. And this is a world-class business coach with decades. And that's the next page is I want to make sure it has context, decades of experience, and long list of extremely successful clients who help coach and direct to their very best, right?
Right.
And then I say, I want you to take the same action with me. However, I want you to also be honest when responding to let me know if my idea or response is weak or just wrong. Now, the reason I put that in there is because the model itself tends to want to support you and placate you. I don't want that. I don't need any rubber stamping. I want to say, hey, you're off your rocker, whatever. Just put on there. Also want to present an idea. Don't be shy about asking proper follow-up questions. In other words, if I give a response because of my context, my knowledge, and I give an answer and it's not right, then it will add additional. It's almost like when I say to my wife, when she says, do you want to go to dinner? I say, no, thanks. And then it's not good enough. She says, well, why not? And I have to come up with reasons why I chose that answer, right? So it wants to do the same thing. And your role is to help me be extremely successful in life and business and not to pander. Do you understand? If so, let's begin. And of course, it does say that. And now from that point on in that whole conversation, it will take on that mindset, whether it's a marketer, it's a rock climber, it's a web design, it doesn't matter. And so these are much simpler. What I was showing you there, which on the other side, they're called system prompts. They're like, okay,
it's very complicated.
Yeah, this is a prompt to get you going, making sure you're asking for the bathroom and not insulting the wife.
That's the one thing I learned in Spanish for sure. Donde está el baño? I can find the bathroom. But what we're seeing here for business owners, though, is that don't be discouraged if you dip your toes into the AI bucket, whether it's ChatGPT or Grok or OpenAI. I don't even know what they all are. There's so many of them. XAI, whatever you are prone to use it.
Yeah.
Okay, but take your time to teach it about you and your business and how you operate. Let it learn your voice. I think that's really important. And then play with it and write these prompts like Jeff's talking about. This is, I wrote one this morning. I'll give you an example. I wrote one this morning because I got slated to do another BNI presentation. Okay. It's in March, and I've already talked about who we are and what we do. And I've already talked about how we work with realtors. So it's kind of at a loss of how should I present myself for this next speaking engagement. And I wish I had asked that question yesterday because the response that it gave me was way better. What I should have done this morning at the other realtor group that I was speaking to. It said to talk about what makes a good referral for us and what doesn't make a good referral for us, which is an excellent topic, particularly for BNI, right? Because that's the purpose of it, is to get referrals. And so sometimes you just have to don't limit yourself to how do I write this email? How do I do damage control with this client? I need to write a procedure, help me with that. It can do all of that. But also think about it from how do I use it for marketing and for networking and for presentations that I have to do. And then you'll get a lot more value out of it quicker. If you have really complex things to do, Jeff's your guy. I mean, he can do things extremely complex, but beyond that, he can do it really fast, which blows my mind because when you go outside and you quote getting things done by other people, and you're told it's a 10 or 20 hour exercise, and then he does something in less than an hour. I'm not kidding. He does stuff in less than an hour, and you go, how in the hell did you do that? And it's perfect. That's what blows my mind. It's always
Thank you.
perfect.
Thank you.
I'm not, it's not, this is not a Jeff Fest today. I'm just saying that when you're going to use technology, if you aren't able to do it yourself, you need to find an expert. Maybe it's not Jeff. Maybe somebody else is really proficient in AI, and that's fine. But you should find somebody. It's like having a good coach for your business. All of us need a good coach. I'm Jeff's coach. Well, except that now he has an AI coach, so I don't know if he still needs me, but we
I
have.
double check her answers.
But I'm your coach, right? And then you work for me in similar fashion, because we're always brainstorming and solving problems, and you're really quick on the draw for that. That's good. But if this, like anything in business, right? Because that's the whole point of our podcast, is how do we help your business? In business, we're all really good. I mean, we all have the entrepreneurial spirit. That's why we started a business, but we may not be good at everything, right? So you need to find the resources that are good at the things where you're not.
Yeah.
And AI is one of those. If it really scares you, if it really intimidates you, if the thought of trying to write a proper prompt, well, really there's no wrong prompt, because you'll be able to tell what the answer you get, then go find somebody like Jeff. Go find somebody that can help you so that you can be successful, because we're absolutely right. This storm, this AI storm that's brewing, is going to disenfranchise, I hate that word, disenfranchise a lot of business owners.
I'm glad you didn't say dismember.
I could have said dismember. It's a better visual, actually. But it is going to hurt a lot of small businesses, because the big companies will adapt. They'll hire staff, they'll hire AI experts. They'll be able to invest because their pockets are deep. But us small business owners, we don't have that luxury. And so we still have to market, we still have to network, we still have to do social media. And as the algorithms change in support of AI, we have to keep up, or we are going to be lost.
Yeah.
We get lost in the noise, right? Go ahead.
I want to share one additional point on that, and something that, and I want to bring up a very specific case, and this is the difference between and this is another warning, gang. If you're still hell bent on only doing SEO and keywords, you have a hole in your bucket. Mm-hmm. Now it's all about citations, and it's that when we talk about citations, we're talking about how generative engines like ChatGPT or Perplexity or whoever it is out there, if you use it as a search engine and you ask it a question, that's what it is, answer engine optimization. These are citations. So if you don't have things like your blog up to date with the correct things, you have inconsistencies across the internet, you don't have any expertise written on your blog, there's nothing on the website that really proves through testimonials, like Leslie has great testimonials on her website of what you do, you're not going to be cited. And let me just give you a specific example. Last February 2025, I started seeing this puck out there, and I said, I want to skate to where that puck is going. And so I started saying to my staff, I'm not sure exactly what we need for that citation, but let's start content, have the structured data, FAQs, schemas, all the things that make it easier for search engines when it comes to generative engines can see them.
Right.
Well, here's what happened, Leslie, is I'm going to use an example of Fraser Pest Control. Fraser Pest Control went from having no real footprint in the digital world to they now are a category king. In other words, they get about 82% of every citation or every search, even in SEO, they get 82% of the traffic.
I want that.
And so and it wasn't magic. It was like, I didn't even know what the future looked like. I just knew I wanted to take my clients there. And so that's what we did. So now that's forced me to go back on that first part that you saw where I pulled up that piece. And I've redesigned my content accelerator to have all those pieces in there to do it automatically. And that is going to be a category changing event for everyone who does it.
It's an industry disruptor is what it is.
Yeah, so these are things that you as a business owner, if you're not sure what keywords and citations are, you need to learn that language and say, oh, citations. Oh, okay. Here's an example. A citation is, well, my business is in Palm Desert, but I do a lot of business in Rancho Mirage. You can't just say that and it work. You have to see your vehicle parked in front of a building in Rancho Mirage, a street in Rancho Mirage. You have to get testimonies from people in Rancho Mirage. You have to have what they call location pages for Rancho Mirage if you want to be cited there. You can't just put it on your website that we do all these areas and then there's no proof. It just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a case of me not thinking. I am 100% certain that there are so many people out there that don't have any idea of the impact this stuff is having already, right? Because I talk to people all the time. You know, I'm doing these challenges. I'm talking to people, and I'm learning that even those who are good at posting in social media don't understand the impact AI is having on them. Yeah. And I ask them, you know, I've known people that are really good at creating content, but is it is it AEO optimized so that the AI bots will pick it up? And most of the time they're like, what is that? And then I explain it to them, they go, no. And I'm like, needs to be. I mean, there's still time where SEO is going to work. And at some point I would expect that there'll be a hybrid of SEO and AEO of some kind, but the dash to the AEO, I mean, it's already there. Search in any browser. Yep. You're already getting an answer back. You're not getting the highest paid ad on the page. You're getting an answer. Look at what you did for that realtor. I'm not going to say any names, but there's a realtor out here whose website she's been in business like 24 years or something, long time. And she's a good realtor, and she's always getting accolades and honors and all kinds of stuff. But she wasn't, and she networks out of state with people trying to get business and for people that come to the desert to buy homes. Getting nothing for it. And her website scored really low on the, is lowly the right word? I don't think so.
Could be lowly.
Could be really low on the scale of how effective is your website. And then he said Joe Frazier, I thought of that. I've done this all day today. Jeff went in there and optimized her site for this AEO impact. And within a week, she got a call from out of the area for somebody looking to buy a house, because when they went to search in the browser, it came up with her because it's AEO optimized. Yeah. And believe me, I may not be sharing how impactful this is. Here in the desert where we live and work, having a realtor in the desert is like actors in Hollywood. There, you can't throw a pebble without hitting a real estate agent. There are so many of them out here. Yeah. And so, because it's a resort area, and because people want to live here, and properties are always moving. So it makes sense that we have a lot. But for her to get a call that quickly from outside of the area after all these years of trying, I thought was pretty phenomenal. And it is a testament to how this works.
Well, thank you. But here's the cool part is I kind of preface this or frame this as this is like the land grab. Mm-hmm. This is when somebody says, hey, all this land is free out here. You just have to go stake your claim. But if you don't know how to get there or what it looks like to stake your claim, you can be standing on land, and next thing you know, you're evicted because they built up around you and you took no ownership. What we did with this realtor is we put her stake in the ground and created ownership. And what is really cool, and just like the pest control company, not only did they grab their spot, but if you can imagine, they're starting to buy the lots around them. And so their domain becomes even larger. And what that means is anyone getting in 6 weeks from now, it won't be as easy to stake a claim because there'll be less land there, because let's say this realtor will have more of it, or there'll be more realtors with little pieces that are around her. And it's, I think that's one of those things I said, if you don't do this, your business will become invisible, because it'll be almost like, if I were looking for someone in the phone book in the old days and they were under the letter B and that page was ripped out, and I'm just don't exist. They can never get a call from me. And that's why I was really urgent about, hey, we have a warning about this, because a storm is brewing.
You know what it reminds me of is Disney, because back in the day, Orlando was all kind of swampland. And Disney went down there and started buying it up real cheap because it's swampland, and everybody thought it wasn't going to be anything. And then he turned it into this magical kingdom down there. And that's kind of what's happening now. You need the vision to see that the opportunity is there, and then pick up all the pieces before anybody else.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be miles ahead with your business, from a visibility standpoint, from a credibility standpoint, from a legitimacy standpoint. It's just going to be phenomenal. And I hope everybody who's listening takes us at what we say, because we're absolutely correct, by the way. I say with all humility.
Absolutely. Hey, I want to, before we sign off today, Leslie, first of all, thanks for jumping on here. Leslie, just to credit her, she was speaking this morning. She had a one-on-one with another client, and she is also coming off being quite ill. So thank you for jumping on and doing this today, because it is very important. But I want to invite you to join us every week. We have a podcast. Typically runs about, probably 50 to 60 minutes long. It's in depth, Twisted, Bent, and Exhausted Entrepreneur Podcast. You can find it on YouTube or Spotify. And it's either on my Jeff Harrison or Leslie Spohr YouTube channel, but you can search it by name, Twisted, Bent, Exhausted Entrepreneur Podcast on Spotify. We'd love for you to check it out. It's one of those things where I got to be honest with you. I use this now probably far too often. We have no problem pulling back the kimono and saying, this is what's working. Go do this.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, what we're sharing is not theory. It's proven application. We're not saying, hey, I hope this works. No, we have already proved that it works. It's a recipe that's in the book for Betty Crocker, and it makes cookies really well.
Mm-hmm. It does. I don't know how much credibility we have yet. I mean, but I've been doing business for management of business for 40 years.
Wow.
At least 40 years. And there are business fundamentals that need to be recognized and adopted. It has nothing to do with what kind of business you're in. It has to do everything with about how you run your business. And that's what I like to focus on, because all businesses can be helped. And this Twisted, Bent, and Exhausted gives us the opportunity to speak to business in general, which is what I really like about it, because it isn't unique to the lifestyle management industry or the technology industry or the marketing. It's specific to being a business owner. So if you guys want to learn more about it, be sure and go to the YouTube channel or the Spotify, and then share it with your friends. If you have other business owners that you collaborate with, by all means, please share it with them, because the feedback we've had so far has been very positive, and Jeff and I, pick on each other quite a bit, and so it can be quite hilarious sometimes. Not always, but quite hilarious. So we really like to share this with you.
Yeah. Well, Leslie, again, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. If you're watching this afterwards, please leave a comment and a 5-star, and let us know how you liked it. And we hope to see you again next time. Remember, Thursdays, it comes out Thursday morning. In the morning, like 12:01 a.m. So it's ready for your morning coffee, and then to get you started and really kind of think about things over the weekend and really hit Monday on the ground running. So, Leslie, thank you so much for joining us today, and continue to get well. And we'll see you again next time on the Twisted, Bent, and Exhausted Entrepreneur Podcast.
Bye, you guys.